join us at Hope Inspirations. This is Hope Inspirations right here at Darling FM. And today we want to have a wonderful time with you on our show. We want to talk about psychosocial issue, and we're going to have a wonderful discussion. We believe that your life will be blessed. This is aimed at dealing with self-belief, dealing with what it means to have faith in yourself, dealing with what it means to be of high self-esteem. And I believe that we're going to have a wonderful discussion. With me today is Reverend Abraham Yambwa, and I believe that he has something to share with us this very day as we all discuss this important issue. All right, Rev, thank you very much for making time to come today.
Okay.
It's an honor having you here.
Okay. Thank you too for the
All right.
opportunity.
So we're going to have Rev to talk about this very important issue. Yeah. So we're going to discuss it as quick as possible and as precise, as brief, as interesting, and as greatly impacting as possible. So, Rev, what do we have? What can they? When we talk about self belief, when we talk about believing, we dubbed it self belief, the foundation for a life well lived, right?
Sure.
So let's talk about why is this topic itself important? Why do we have to talk about believing in yourself? Why do we have to talk about in an inner understanding of who you are and in inner faith? Why do we have to talk about issues that has to do with self-belief or self-esteem?
Once again, good evening to our cherished followers and then subscribers and those that are fortunate to be connected and those that will connect later.
Yeah.
Now, this topic, self-belief, I think was chosen because it's one area of life or it's a topic which most of the time we take for granted.
Okay.
In fact, most people even don't see the relevance of why we must talk on topics like this because they will tend to think, oh, maybe there are marital problems there are financial problems there, disturbing us. There are things like maybe you have to build a house. We are here talking of self-belief. But I can tell you that your marriage, your finances,
That's
the
right.
house you want to build, and
That's right.
anything that connects to your life
That's right.
starts with your mind.
Okay.
So self-belief is just trying to connect us to how your mind is necessary in the life you are living. In
Okay.
other words, you cannot live a life on this earth and be successful at that life if you play down your mind, if you
Okay.
belittle your mind.
Okay.
Your mind is likened to the control room of an of a cockpit of a plane.
Okay.
When a plane is moving, everything about the plane, the movement and everything is being controlled at a particular place known as the control room or the cockpit as the pilots, the technical term. Your mind, most of the time, because we don't see our mind with our eyes, we tend to belittle the mind and we don't place importance on it. But it's very, very crucial in directing us in the affairs of life. That is why this evening, this topic has been chosen to be talked about. Now, when I talk about self-belief, it's not only about just believing yourself, but it is broad. The concepts. So that is one of the foundation. In other words, uh, anytime commit suicide,
Very, very, very,
his
very sad.
enemy was living
From within.
inside of him.
It's because of how he understood himself.
His mind.
Yeah.
That's the
How the mind comprehended who he
he
was
was.
in that situation that he
So
was
so
in.
so sometimes it's so sad that when you hear, oh, somebody has killed somebody, that one we go and attack that person. But what about the person killing the person is living inside the person?
Yeah.
And that is the mind.
Yeah.
And that all stems from how your mind works. Self-belief is broader than just believing yourself. You come to that aspect where
Okay.
believing yourself is necessary. But I want us to understand the concept of self-belief in the sense that if you don't manage your mind, in other words, people are quick to manage their money, quick to manage their time, quick to manage other tasks. But if you don't manage your mind well, your mind can be your own enemy.
That's right.
So it's necessary to talk on this. Another truth I want to share is that when we go through life, we have seen that all those people that have done outstanding or great things in life, it's all started because they believe in themselves.
That's right.
Because anything that we are enjoying today, any invention from the scientists, from the philosophers, from the creators, and whatever, once upon a time, it was not existing.
That's right.
So, for example, let me use airplane again. I talked about it at first. When airplane was not in the world, the one who envisioned that I'll bring airplane, do you know how, in fact, the people living in his time or in his age, they will laugh and mock at him. They will say, such your vision is baseless and useless. Have you ever seen a metal as big as, or have you seen a metal fly in the sky before? We only know birds to fly. So what are you talking about? So I'm telling you that if these people who invented things we are enjoying today, if they did not have belief in themselves, if they did not have the belief in themselves, what they started, they would have stopped.
Yeah.
The other day I was doing a teaching and somebody asked me, you do good things to other people and they use evil to pay you. And I was saying that if you are thinking like that, you will not do any great thing on this earth with your life. Because anything that you want to do, you get people who are not in support of you. You get people who will criticize you. You get people who will try to sabotage you. So if you are the type who you quickly give up, then you abandon or abort that vision and abort that dream. So self-belief is necessary in whatever you are pursuing in life. Let me give a practical example. I think those of us who watched the just ended AFCON, Africa, the CAF, what's Confederation of Africa Football, that's the Africa in your AFCON. I think
you're not a football fan.
I'm not that much a football fan. But I think when you look at the final match, it was played between Nigeria and Cote d'Ivoire. But those who followed the match were saying that before the match, most people knew that Nigeria had an upper hand in winning or taking the trophy. But it did not end that way. And then I think one of the things that helped Cote d'Ivoire, even though they are saying Nigeria had the upper hand over Cote d'Ivoire, one of the things which helped Cote d'Ivoire was that on that D-Day, their spirit was very high.
It was a home country.
Good. Look at the supporters.
They had a great
the president was there. So they were playing, if even they are not good, their mind has been
psychologically they were ready to fight for the cup
to the end. You see, even though they were playing with a side which was considered more of an expert or more of stronger, but because of how they were thinking at that particular moment, it had an effect on the results.
That's right.
And that is what self-belief is trying to emphasize. This self-belief concept I'm talking about, how you can use your mind to partner with your outcome that you are looking for in life. Other than that, your mind becomes your enemy to fight you, not to achieve what you want to achieve. Now, let me say this. Sometimes some people are quick to say that I'm a shy type. I feel shy. So since I feel shy, I cannot venture into things like maybe public speaking, and then things like which has to do with standing before the crowd. But I want to say that if you are suffering from inferiority complex, which is simply meaning your mind or your belief in yourself is low, such that you look down upon yourself. When you're having that type of mind, it does not, you cannot say because I don't stand before people or I don't have anything to do with leadership, so it affects all other aspects of life. In education, people can fail examinations because of inferiority complex for a particular course or program or even subjects. In our society, we have fathers and mothers who are sub-performing, or they are not performing as expected of a father. They are not performing as expected because they tend to think that, oh, this thing called fatherhood, it just... Now let me be quick to say something here so that you understand this concept of self-belief. Self-belief, apart from maybe there are some people their own, they are born with it, the confidence you have to do something, that's what we describe as self-belief. It can be a profession, it can be a skill, it can be a work, it can be anything you want to pursue. If most people who pursue things in life with belief, self-belief, they believe, most of the time challenges don't let them stop. So let me say this: your self-belief that you are having, it can be natural, but you have to enhance it. You have to enhance, because some people, like for example, this parenting I brought here, somebody will say about who is born to be a parent. There are people who are, they have not learned or read any book on parenting, but they are born parents. It's a, but if you are not like that, you can enhance yours. And it is the enhancing, the knowledge, seeking after the truth in relation with that thing that will give you confidence that I'm now I now qualify to be a good father. I now qualify to be a good mother. So inferiority complex will affect your, not only maybe your leadership position, but it can affect your life. It can affect leadership like government positions. It can even affect businesses. Because the business you are doing, if you don't have belief, you can be today doing one thing, tomorrow you switch. Today you are into one thing, another day you are into a different thing. And it can go a long way to affect the outcome that you are looking for. Now, we've seen that
I want to read the scripture.
Okay.
So in the book of Philippians chapter 3,
Okay.
yeah, the verse verse 7. Let's start from the verse 7.
Okay.
So Philippians 3 verse 7, this is what he says. He says that verse 7 says that talking about Paul when they were trying to deal with many people were bragging about who they were and what Paul wanted to say a little bit about himself. Then he came to the verse 7 and said that, but what things were gained to me, these I have counted loss for Christ. Yet indeed I also count all things loss for the excellence of the knowledge of Christ Jesus my Lord, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things and count them as rubbish, that I may gain Christ. So that what I want to say is, I said that I may gain Christ. So he personally, he had something, he had a foresight, he had something that he knew he was pursuing to get. And he believed that he was called to get that thing, or he had a personal conviction. He had an internal fortitude. He had something inside him that established that is what he was going to do with his life. You understand? So when we talk about self-confidence, we first of all want to establish the fact that there has to be a mental understanding and a mental foundation, or a mental setup, that who I am, what I want to get, I have what it takes to get what I want to get. Do you understand? So I believe that it is when people don't have these things, that kind of mindset, that kind of conviction. You see, Paul was so difficult to be convicted that they had to take Jesus to show a light upon him, to break him down. So you have to come to a place in your life where you have a personal conviction, a fortitude that is very, very difficult to be broken. And when you get to that level of conviction, you cannot easily be pressured to do things because of what you are going through, because you understand that the challenges you are going through, they are part of life. They are needed to make you who you have to become and who you want to become. Do you understand? So I see it as, when we say self-belief or high self-esteem, I see that it's both mental and soulish. A mental and soulish understanding and a soulish established thought about yourself that takes you and drives you forward.
Sure.
Rev, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
Like the quotation you quoted. You see, for somebody to count everything as rubbish and choose Christ, when we bring it practically nowadays, like somebody who is saying, I forgo my house, I forgo my car, I forgo my work, all because I'm pursuing Christ. If you are not careful, you will insult the person that he is foolish, because he's foregoing other things, and other things are not important to him, like the Christ who he has put as his focus. So in other words, you see, like as you said, the conviction. When you have self-belief, and with this message, I want to tell you one of the reasons why many people might fall on the way of life is that anytime you don't have self-belief, like the quotation they mentioned, you would be swayed and tossed around with the comments of people.
Any kind of wind.
Any kind of wind will toss you, because it's like, as Paul, the quotation which was just read, Paul was somebody who forgone everything, and in fact he was counting them as dung and rubbish. Why? It was important things, but because of his belief and his reality, inner reality, and his conviction has told him that this is what he wants. It's not what people are saying, oh, this is more important. No, he put it aside and pursue what he has put before him.
So at some point in your life, you have to answer that question. Who am I? What am I about? What really do I want in life?
What are you doing? If those questions are wrong,
if you get them wrong, anything anybody says is what you go for.
Very true.
Yeah.
And that is what eventually your life will be like.
Because you are
not living life by yourself,
because
but you are living life based on what people
are saying,
or what people are saying.
Your mother wants, your father wants, your relatives want. But you as an individual, depression comes in when you are fighting against a wind.
You see, as I earlier on said, I did a study and saw that every outstanding achiever in life, which we mention his name to celebrate him, all of them, there is no exception. All of them, any pursuit, any vision, any drive they were pursuing, they had belief in it, such that at that time, even their parents, some of them, their parents, like Bill Gates, he was at the university and he dropped out and decided to go and pursue Microsoft. His parents insulted him that he's fool. So can you imagine a man who they are telling him is fool and himself to think he's a fool? Will he successfully end his day?
That is the line. If he himself also thought that he was a fool, then he would have been a fool.
Yeah. But when people are thinking you're a fool and you have belief that you're not a fool,
you have an arrow that is targeted at something. That thing you are very well convicted about, and I think that's what we want to push into people's mind in this discussion. That you have to come to a place in your life you know where you are going.
You know where you are going. So the comments of people, the distractions of other voices from family, relatives, siblings, loved ones, does not make you to lose your focus. You still stay the path and then move that course.
How do we deal with the issue of self-belief and faith in God?
Self-belief
and faith in God.
You see,
because people are saying,
okay.
And you know, as Christians, we work with that. As many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God.
Okay.
So how do you deal with that of faith in God and confidence in yourself?
Okay. You see, faith in God. If I'm to use a mathematical term, so those who are more convenienced in math, you will say universal set and subset.
Okay.
So faith in God is the universal set.
Okay.
Then self-belief or the self-confidence become a subset, which means that any man who most of the time he have faith in God, it's natural. You see, if you know, that's why the Bible says, and those that
know
know their God
they shall do
be
exploits.
strong and do exploit.
Yeah.
So most of the time, people exhibiting or radiating higher self-belief and higher self-confidence, most of the time, their faith in God is firm. Now, let me say this. It is possible some people might not go to church.
Mm-hmm.
That is why I told you that this self-belief and self-confidence, and some of them are natural.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are born with higher belief.
Mm-hmm.
They don't easily give up.
Mm-hmm.
When even there is a daring
it's a personality trait, actually.
yeah. But you see, whether the person believes in God or he don't believe in God, I want to say that the source of self-belief comes from God.
Yeah.
So a person can be working with the characteristics, and even he might not mention God's name, but what he's having and what is, because the Bible says all good and perfect gifts come from above, the Father of light. So the self-belief is a kind of a subset of your faith in God. Because when you know God and you have faith, it naturally brings this self-belief. That is why I think the Bible says faith comes by hearing and hearing. So it means that even your faith in God, it can shoot up, or it can be stronger based on the kind of things you hear. So when you know God, God will speak to you either directly or through His word. Those tends to go a long way to fuel faith into you.
But you should personally also have a personal conviction that Nyame pedemi yedi.
Very true.
This is what I am convicted of. This is what I am convinced to do. This is what I'm persuaded to do with my life. See, if you don't come to that level, then you work with the wind. You'll be tossed about. And that is why you don't see people, you see people just doing anything on social media because they see that that's what other people are doing. Popularity for fame and all of that. But what happens if the social media is shut down? Who are you?
Most of them will stop what they are doing. Sincerely, most of them will stop. Many people, you see, this thought even just came to my mind just this evening. That you see the way every undertaking or any pursuit you have you want to undertake, life has a way of testing you.
That's true.
Life has a way of testing you to know whether that thing you are pursuing. You just want it casually, or you are having a conviction. I just wanted to remember some quotation, but it's trying to skip me. Where the Bible says that
until the word of God tested him, talking about Joseph.
Yeah, that is one aspect of it. And also there was a quotation where he was saying that like God brings us through the water and the fire, so that at the end He will bring us out, so that He will know what is in us. But put it in a paraphrase way. Before God, look at the Bible characters. Before God hand some things to people, He let them pass through things.
It's true.
He let you pass through things, and those things you are passing through, is what, if you're able to stand to the end. No wonder Jesus said, "He who can endure to the end, he will be crowned." So most of the time today, there's a lot of things people are doing for like prank. Today, when you people are doing prank and certain things just to get people following them. But you see, if those things, which at the end of the day is so exciting for people to watch, I got as you earlier on said, the social media should be shut down. And you say, oh, now there's nothing like social media. Do the same thing. Raw. There's not going to be any likes. Just do it. Most people will abandon what they do.
So it comes back to the question that who are you? What is your personal definition of yourself outside of what people say, outside of what people see, and outside of what defines you? Who is this person? And when you get to that personality definition, when you get to that intuitive, what do you call it, conviction or intuitiveness, when you get to that inner piece of personal definition, then we know who really you are. We know what your life is about. And until then, you have to wait and discover yourself. Right, what are some of the things that you wrote down to share with us on this issue?
Before I move on to other points, I want to say something in relation to this, how to dissolve. Is sincerely and truthfully, most people are walking on the planet Earth. They don't know themselves. Know yourself is not knowing your name, where you were born, the school you went, and biological information. No. Emmanuel Olamide, one Nigerian man who wrote the School of the Money, is also popular, was doing some teachings about 5 levels of education you need to succeed. And he said, self-education. Self-education. Do you know why you are why you are how you are? We are all not the same. We are all human beings. We have 2 eyes, 2 ears, but we are not the same. Interests, likes, dislikes, things that turn you on, passions, drive, it's not the same. But most people don't take the time to do assessment of themselves. Why maybe you like watching comedy shows? Maybe even, for example, let me just use a practical home scenario of children. Maybe there's one child, when they tune to football on the telly, he enjoy it. When even they want to change, he say no. There's another child, maybe when it is tuned to wrestling, he enjoyed than the football. Or maybe when it's tuned to fashion show, he enjoy. So most people, and this is just a surface, so go knowing yourself is a deep work on its own, a full course. That is why some people with the therapists and psychologists, they'll have to see a psychologist. They can pass through, and at the end of that exercise, some fair knowledge about